welcome back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, we are doing part 2 of Hidden Gem books. I did part 1, I will link it down below. And these books, just to recap, are books that no one really talks about. It's not really just splashed everywhere, but when I tell you these reads are fantastic, they are hidden gems. I have a couple that I want to show you guys, and yeah, let's get started. So the first actually is a slavery novel, and it's by a debut author, and it is Natasha Dion. Now, oh my goodness, y'all. First of all, I listened to this and read it at the same time, and it was fantastic. I'm trying to think who did the narrating. I think Robin Miles did the narrating. And this basically, okay, so I told you it's a slavery novel, right? But it's a little bit of a different take. So you have a woman, oh, what was that girl's name? Naomi. Naomi, she's 15. She escapes because her owner is just, I mean, come on, you already know her owner is unbelievably horrible. And she does something and she has to escape, basically, or she go die. Runs away to a brothel, but in the beginning she doesn't know it was a brothel. But the brothel is ran by a white German woman. Girl. And that's what I'm gonna say. Next is Jacqueline Woodson. Jacqueline Woodson, she is a GOAT, y'all. She writes children's books. She writes YA. She writes picture books, middle grade, critical analysis, everything. And this book, I remember when this came out, I was being real cheap, y'all, because I didn't want to buy the hardcover copy, and I waited until it came on paperback. I need to read this again. But this is about a young girl. She becomes pregnant, and she's really smart, and her boyfriend are debating if they should keep it, and she does. And this also is a different take, I would say, on teen pregnancy and just teen relationships in general. Also too, she talks about the Tulsa race massacres, which I did not know anything. I learned about that from her, because the girl's family, like, you know, because I think this is like set in like the 80s or something, 80s, 90s. But like the girl's family, you know, had family back during that time. And she talks about it. Also, what I like about this book is the teens are not struggling. You know what I mean? The teens are, you know, are not struggling. You know, you think about like teen pregnancy, a lot of times it's like, oh, you know, can they afford it? You know, can the parents afford it? And you don't see no struggle, you know, when it comes to that. But this was so good. Oh, this was so good. And the outcome was perfect. It also gives a different light on dads, teen dads, because that boy took responsibility, as he should. But you guys know, a lot of times in the relationships, the girl, it fall on the girl, the boy do what do you want to do and everything. But she had a different take, and I really appreciate that. This book, fantastic. Next is a romance book. It's Taizet Tether by Jane. Y'all, look, she's Nigerian, okay? This is the book. This is a romance novel. And it is a typical romance novel, but I still liked it because y'all know African literature. That's up my alley, y'all. They can write. Girl, they wrote about Batman and they make it good. But this is about a 20-something-year-old girl that she is Nigerian, but she lives in Canada. And her dad, you know, passed away when she was younger. But on his deathbed, she promised her dad, I will marry a Nigerian. I will marry a Nigerian man, an African man, right? So years later, you know, she's working and she ends up having a one-night stand with a young man that is not Nigerian, not African. I believe he's Hispanic. And girl, one thing leads to another, and yeah, this is another one. I don't want to give it away because there actually was, like I said, it's a typical romance, but she did have some bits and pieces that were like, that kept you on your toes. Next is Me, Diane Trial by Patricia Powell. Fantastic. This is a Caribbean author. You have a young woman that is just, oh Lord, she got about 6 kids. she's droning in that. She's droning in a marriage that she doesn't like. Her husband is abusive. I mean, it's horrible. It's, one of those stories where the mom is just overwhelmed with these kids and all that. Girl, she ended up going to, Connecticut, just leaving everything. And you see how it goes. This was really good. And this was only 192 pages, and it packed a lot. This is another book where it's written so well, where obviously her just leaving, girl, you leaving your kids and stuff, that's horrible. But you still wanted her to win. What was her name? Gwenny, I think, yeah, her name was Gwenny. You wanted Gwenny to win because their relationship, her husband was just, oh Lord, and even the kids, which was a mess. They got on her nerves. They just, they just expected her to just do everything when it came to domestic, life. And girl, but she pieced out. But this, y'all read this. This is so good. Next is Alice Walker, Can't Keep a Good Woman Down. These are short stories. Fantastic. The first story is a bang. But with the story that I love, what was that called? I think it was it 1954? I think it was the first story. And she talks about how it's kind of based off Elvis. You know how Elvis used to steal and used to install a lot of those black artist songs and stuff like that. You know how Little Richard always would say, I'm the originator, y'all stole from me. Girl, this was the prime example with that story. You had a woman that wrote that song. She recorded it. That the white man, he liked it. And he was like, well, I'm going to give you some money for it, and record it. And it ended up blowing up even more. She got a story in this book called Porn. You know how Alice Walker is. Alice Walker don't care. She go hit you with a bang. The abortion, fame, the lover, girl. This is, y'all, please read this. Please read this. These short stories are fantastic. Next is Slick by Brenda Hampton. I think I've talked about this book. This would be kind of classified as could it be urban fiction? But it's an urban fiction where it's not like the typical with they pushing weight and killing and all that. No, you have two best friends, and one of the best friends, she works for her best friend's husband, right? Her best friend's husband is an attorney, and she's like the secretary. And the husband is thinking that his wife is having an affair, which she is, but the best friend knows, but she's like, I'm, girl code, I'm not gonna, tell. And he starts confiding in, her friend, his secretary, right? And girl, she falls for him, and you see how it goes. Now, I know this is a second book, but I read the synopsis, and then I end up reading what do you call it? End up reading the spoilers. I didn't like the way it ended, girl. But the first book, this was really, really, really good. I liked it a lot. So yeah. And then lastly is Silver Sparrow by Tari Jones. I remember while I was reading An American Marriage, I wanted to read all her books and get all her books, and I did. I have one more book that I need to read by her, which is her debut novel called Leaving Atlanta. But this, fantastic. This came out before Silver Sparrow. No, this came out before American Marriage. So this is about two girls that, Lord, you have a man named John. John is what do you call it? A bigamist. So he has two families, right? One wife and child knows about the family, and the other one doesn't. And the mama that knows, she knows he got a second wife and child and everything, and her thing is, oh well, I had him first. Girl, what? And he take care of both of the families. But one of the girls, they end up going to school together, and yeah, okay. There cannot be a happy ending. I mean, this man has two families, and the fact that John, yeah. I don't want to give it away because I'm talking too much. I don't want to give it away. But the fact that he did that, and then also too, the fact that woman knew that he had a second wife and all that, what kind of bull crap is that? Girl, this was so good. This was so good. This is a hidden gem. And I also listened to this while I read it, and it was fantastic, y'all. Get into this. Now, I would say I still think An American Marriage is her best book. I'm not even gonna lie. But this is probably her second, and then her other book, Untelling, is really good. And like I said, I have Leaving Atlanta to read, and that's about the child Atlanta murders, because she grew up during that time, and all her books are set in Atlanta, because she's from there. But y'all, get into this book, and also make sure you guys get the audio because it's fantastic. So yeah, guys, that's all I have when it comes to hidden gems. I will do more of these because y'all, we got a lot of hidden gems. I need to read more because I got a lot of books that I haven't read. Well, I think they might be hidden gems, but I do know they're just not splashed everywhere, and y'all know that's up my alley. So I got to read some more, and when I do, I will be back with a part 3. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.